At the same time, I'm the international climate policy advisor for the mayor, and I'm the CEO of our climate action agency NGO in Mannheim. So it's comfortable for me to work in such positions because I can connect the strategies with the structures and with the culture of change and come to action with our stakeholders and citizens. Now we have to start. I hope you can all see the slides. So I would like to start with mission possible or mission impossible. A mission is a mission, so we will ask at every time how to reach climate neutrality in the next 7 years. And so if you don't go to a mission on a mission, you will never reach and you will never know if it is possible or not possible. So we try to make it possible. And we know that it has a lot to do with knowledge and with social innovation and with governance innovation, that people come to action. People as a politician, people as a city administration, people as a citizen or an employee, and so on. So I would like to give you some insights from Mannheim, the first of 10 cities in the EU mission getting the EU mission label. And so we are at the same time a pilot city for local Green Deal, a city for climate neutrality in 2030. And we are also a pilot city in the Net Zero Cities call for pilot cities with our collab committed to local climate action building. So I have a lot to tell you. And so I start with that nice joke. So it's not a joke because that people has no knowledge. And so he struggled with climate change, but it is not man-made. So he thinks there's no single piece of scientific evidence. So I'm sorry, but he died. So we want to change it. Next slide, please. And the mission gives us a possibility as 112 selected EU mission cities, 100 from the EU background and 12 from the associated countries, and 9 from Germany, and Mannheim is one of the 9 and the spokesperson also of the German cities together with Aachen. Next slide. And we get a lot of knowledge for our mission from the Net Zero Cities platform, the consortium of 33 networks, think tanks, universities, and so on. So ECLAY is part of it, and Global Covenant of Mayors is part of it, for example. And they gave us this cycle how to come to climate neutrality in 2030. So that is our task. Every city of the EU mission has to go around the cycle. And for me, it is at every time a story of how, not so much the story of what, because what is normally it's known, but how to make that mission innovative and to connect not only the technical things of to be climate neutral, but also to get commitments and to have an idea how much does it cost and how comes the private and the municipal capital from. So we have to go around the circle, starting by build a strong mandate. Then understanding the system, where come the emissions from, co-creating with the stakeholders and the citizens a portfolio of action. If you did these 3 things, you are able to fill in the climate city contract, and hopefully you will get the mission label. And then it's the time to take action and learn and reflect and make it to the normal what you have learned. So it's really a really new, innovative way, not only to design a SECAP, a Sustainable Energy Action Climate Plan, but at the same time to develop it with the citizens and the stakeholders from the very first beginning, to get the commitments, the first commitments, to connect it with the actions, and to know where the emissions come from, how to reduce it, and to connect it with the investment plan. Next slide. So It's a story of how. So first, you need a strong political commitment, a mandate, so demonstrates a political will to start, and you have to show it in your commitment plan. So we started a long time before with the next slide with the 17 United Nations sustainability goals, as we made them to our strategic goals in the city. So all the administration parts, they are working with the management goals there, which are coming from the 17 United Nations goals, and they are connected with the budget of the administration. And so we are following this approach, and then came the European Green Deal, and then we decided to connect the mission statement with the local Green Deal, and we started as a pilot city for local Green Deal. We are first city to have now a local Green Deal and a full local Green Deal as our overall strategy. So that is our political background. So it's a Paris Agreement, the 17 goals, the European Green Deal, and our mission statement. Next slide. And then we had the task to develop also a new governance team for the mission. So they gave us a transition team playbook, and there are some models in it how you can do it. So the aim is to connect all the departments and also the municipal enterprises, and to avoid the silo thinking we have in every administration. And we still have it also, but we try it with a new connection here. It's a network partnership model. So it's a local Green Deal team with 14 people, 8 hired new for that mission. And they are only responsible to go into the departments and to take the strategies and plans, to integrate them and to bring them with the stakeholders and citizens together, and to develop really concrete actions together. In our terms, it's deals. And so we are a big coalition for that mission, and we are working for all the mayors. So the mayors are our steering group, and every department is involved in the working group. Next slide. And then you have to show up in your commitment part also, what are your principles and priorities in your city, how you are ticking what makes your city special in that kind. So that is our local Green Deal. The name is Ideal for Mannheim. It means at the same time ideal for Mannheim. I have to make my contribution as a politician, as a city administration people, as a company, as a citizen, and so on. And these principles and priorities also come into your commitment plan as a core contract part. And we are going along all the co-benefits of climate issues. So we are not dealing only for climate neutrality, but also for biodiversity, circular economy, clean mobility, building for the future, and also healthy food and so on. So we connect these all together. Next slide. And we use for that also the principle of system innovation for transformation. The principle is that it's nice to have a strategy. All the cities, they have a strategy, of course. But to be successful in transformation, you need a structure for implementing the strategy, and a structure which goes out from your administration into the society. And you need a culture, a really new culture to work together in a really innovative way. And that is what people show us in the EU mission. So the picture is from Edinburgh. I like that so much because in your administration, in your city society, you have to bring the head and the rest of the body together to make the picture complete. Otherwise, the one is going in that direction and the other one in that direction, and you don't have success. So what we have to do is the stakeholders to put them all together. Normally, only one stakeholder is going for one action and maybe hit the system at 1 or 2 points. But now we have to connect all all together with each other and working in portfolios to see which action influences the other actions and has co-benefits or adverse impacts. And that is all in your CCC, in your Climate City contract. Next slide. And so you start with what you have already. So you do an assessment and you are looking, do you have a greenhouse gas inventory? Do you have already policies and strategies? And then you are looking into the system barriers. Where is our gap, is the gap to climate neutrality by 2030? And then you make your climate portfolio, scenarios and impact pathways, and along then to develop a really good learning system over monitoring, evaluation, and learning. And then you need all these connections, organizations, governance, innovation, and so on, to really work together, and also to have an idea, first idea of financing of the action portfolio. So you see the construction site signs. So when we started to develop the CCC, the green was already done in Mannheim, and the construction sites was what we had to work with for the Climate City contract. Next. And so this path will not be the straightforward one. Yes, new ways are needed. That is what we are learning and trying to implement. So normally we plan like that. So traditional planning, we make some tasks to the goal, milestones, and so on. And then after the time, we look at the end of the time, oh, have we reached our goal or not, and why? That is what we don't want to do in the mission. So next, yes, next. We want to start with strategic experiments, and the way is maybe not strong forward. Maybe it has curves and so on. And next. And we have to stop at some strategic moments and to look, okay, what matters, what happens, why, what can we change? So the monitoring, evaluation, learning cycles, they have to not only to be at the end of the line, but also on the way. And that is what we call sense making. In the EU mission, that is really, really helpful to know that we have to stop and at every time have to ask the why, and so on. Next slide. So we started with the CAP, the Climate Action Plan, but that is not the only part of the Climate City contract. So it's only part, the middle part of the CCC. And you can take, if you have already a CAP, you can take it, it's really helpful. And then you have also a carbon dioxide inventory you can use. We had the comfortable situation that we had designed our Climate Action Plan 2030, the new one, extra for the EU mission target. So that helped us to follow the way for sense making and to develop our measures. Next slide. And we had also a new carbon dioxide inventory for the whole city, not only for the municipality. So you need it for citywide in the territorial boundaries. And so we know about the emissions. And that is the part on the cycle I showed you at the very first slide. With the cycle, the transition map is understanding the system. And that you have to put in the climate action part in the middle of your CCC. Next. And then, you have done the carbon dioxide reduction scenarios, how to come to 2030 to the net zero city, net zero goal. What we have and to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions by 93%. Next slide. And then you will be asked, how have you developed the measures? How have you included your stakeholders, your citizens? So you see here the line. So we had a lot of strategic groups with companies, with citizens. We had a voluntary citizen council formed for that, and so on. So and that is really good that the Commission asked for that you really from the very first planning include your city society into the action plan. Next slide. And so we have a lot of fields of action developed together, over 300 activities on our way to climate neutrality. And you have to show up it in your climate city contract. Next. And you will be asked about the bold measures, the interventions, they name it. So the top measures of your SACAP, which leads you to climate neutrality. And we connected that with our local Green Deal. So the top measures in the local Green Deal action fields. So we have not only building and mobility, we have also waste and also other areas. So like circular economy and so on, and behavior change and in plastic strategy, something like that. Next slide. And then you have to show up how to implement the activities. Do you have an idea? And so these are the options for action at multi-level. So we know that only 1/3 we can influence by the Mannheim group, so the municipal part and the enterprises. 1/3 is to be done by the company, stakeholders, and citizens, and 1/3 is to be done, or it's depending on the changing framework conditions at regional, national, and EU level. Otherwise, we cannot reach the goal we have calculated in our scenario. And there is some possibilities. The good news is that there's an instrument mix you can use at the local level, but also at the regional, national, and EU level. It's supplying fiscal things, regulate something, inform the people, and flanking the measures. And this one we use in our SICAP, in the Climate Action Plan, how we can support the technical measures. Next slide. So we have in our SECAP already not only the technical, the direct emission reducing measures, but also the enabling measures, because first you have to change the people and the behavior that they take action. And so we have some really good measures in our SECAP already as a first step. Next slide. And we have a monitoring dashboard. So monitoring, evaluation, learning by activities, by experiments is really, really helpful. We are CDP rated, really proud of it as a city. And we are using this dashboard really to look at the activities and how we can influence them and what we need that we be successful in the single activity. Next slide. And the third point is the investment strategy. So you have to look at your own budget in a household, but it's only one part. How much you can invest yourself. And you have to look at regional and national level and EU level, where are financing investments possibilities, and you have to look in your private capital. And so we asked our big enterprises and big municipal, like energy utility or housing utility or transport utility, and they gave us some figures, how much it is to be climate neutral. For example, 500 million only for decarbonization our district heating systems in the next years. Next slide. So, but the biggest thing, I think we were awarded also for that we have we keep an eye on the stakeholder involvement and citizen engagement in our city, how to connect it in all of the 3 parts of the climate city contract. So with the idea of the ideal for Mannheim, and that we are using in our CoLab, committed to local climate action building, how we can support with an instrumental mix that stakeholder involvement and citizen engagement. Next slide. So committed to local climate action building is the CoLab. And the challenge is cross-departmental integrated goals and policies and strategies to avoid the silo thinking. And the challenge is from ambition to action, stakeholder commitments and citizen endorsements to get more and more of it. And also the multi-level commitments, because, 1/3 is depending on multi-level commitments. Next slide. So from knowledge to action, that is in our collab task, creating a framework, information and advice, creating structures, giving incentives, regulation and standards, what we do in Mannheim. Next slide. So we have also already a business climate alliance, and all the commitments of them we have included in the commitment part of the climate city contract. So big enterprises, big utilities, but also small and medium-sized enterprises and so on. And they all signed a contract with the mayor and gave also really concrete deals on hand. Next slide. We have the Climate Action Agency as a one-stop shop, and we are providing from school to business many activities and actions, and also local incentives and funding programs. Next slide. We have some, to show how to change your behavior. We have a model flat where you can move through and can look in every room what is the possibility to do. And if you look on the cards, you can see how much you save energy or save money, or you can do for your health and so on. And we have also a model construction site, how to refurbish houses. And we have, I think we are worldwide the only climate action agency with an own magazine or brochure, yearly newspaper we are bringing out with all our activities. Next slide. But nevertheless, we are doing a lot, but studies show that what people say is not what people do, and they have knowledge and they want to change their behavior, but only a few of it are able to do it. That is where we want to do something. So when, where, and how do we make decisions? And we know the most relevant argument influences our decision. When I made a decision to take a bus or not in the morning, so the most relevant, if it rains and so on, will influence my decision. So our task as a municipality is provide faithful arguments, show alternatives, and addressing personal values to change the behavior. Next slide. So how we do it? We use the 7 doors approach for action, so that people can come from knowledge to the wish, to skills, to optimism, to simplify, to stimulation and empowerment. Next, click. And we use many rooms we have in our municipality and in the city where people can get all these instruments and use it. Next, click. That is our house of change as a symbol. Next click. To bring the people from I know I should to I would like to I can do it. And yeah, it's worth to do it. And it's really easy to make the decision. And yes, I join the movement and to know then, hey, it was successful. And I am in the Hall of Fame of the city of Mannheim. And it show up, they show up my success. Next slide. So for us is at the moment, after the CCC, we had successful given to the European Commission and awarded with a label you see here. After the CCC is before the CCC. And more action is ideal for Mannheim, and we are doing a lot in communication. You see here a hidden objects picture. I think in German it's a nice word is Wimmelbild, because there's a lot of things are happening, and we show here what deals we wish to have in our city. So now I'm at the end. Sorry for being so fast, but I have not so much time, and I want to show up. I wanted to show up all what we are doing, but it's not possible. It's a mission impossible to show all. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Agnes, for this very comprehensive overview of what Mannheim is doing and the mission. Of course, that you said impossible. Hopefully, it is possible, but of course, it's a lot to do anyway in the 7 years to go. So thank you very much. I'm not sure if there is any immediate reaction from anyone in the audience in terms if you have any questions for Agnes while we put up again the slides for the discussion. in which we will also ask you what you are doing and what you think can be done in your cities as well.
Maybe I would like to just join your congratulations to Mannheim and the amazing job you are doing also to engage the citizens and to put all the dots together and the finance together with the action. It's really impressive. Thank you for sharing that, Agnes.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. And I see Axinia. Hi, Axinia, would you like to
Yes.
say something? Yeah.
Yeah, good day to everyone. And first of all, I want to thank you for the really wonderful presentation made by Agnes. It was so interesting and engaging to listen to it. And the presentation itself, it was so nicely made with a sense of humor. So it was really great. Thank you so much. And my question would be, actually, first of all, what was the most challenging stage for you to implement your strategies? And this is the first one. And second question would be, was it really difficult for you to reach the public, yes, to reach the people, just to make them believe in what they want to do, in the fact that they, in principle, want to do something? And actually, it was really nice to hear about the 7 doors approach. It was kind of a bit new to me. So basically, it's kind of understandable. But on the other hand, we haven't thought about that at this angle. So it was really interesting for me to listen to that. Thank you. And so was it really challenging? And do you face any challenges now of addressing people, of their feedback, their reaction? Thank you.
Thank you. We had not so much difficulties to reach people because we are doing that work so long. So the Climate Action Agency, for example, it was founded in 2009. So we are 14 people now giving consultancy in the households and so on, having these funding programs, going into schools. So we reach the people, but it's really difficult that they take action. So we can inform, we give the consultancy, we give incentives and so on, but it's not enough to reach the climate goal by 2030. So that's why we are using this new thinking of the 7 doors and how we can, with experimenting, strategic experimenting, very special experiments we are thinking at the moment about, and to connect it with the doors. What we have to do that people wish to do it, that they feel that they can do it, so what they need for that decision. And when we can pick them up, because you make decisions at several times in your age. So if you move to another city, if you be retired, or if you leave your home to buy another one or something like that. And so if we try to put it together, we have scientific support in our collab, so really interesting. And we had now 2 days discussion after us and thought about which experiments we would like to accompany with that approach. So I can show you, I think, in 1 year more, but that is really difficult to do that. And the difficulty was also the investment strategy, to think the first time about all the investments in a city. Normally, you only think about your own budget. So,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah, and indeed, yeah, thank you. Absolutely, again, Agnes, and of course, this vision of looking also beyond your own municipal budget is definitely something that is useful, both in terms of bringing stakeholders on board, but in terms of also bringing the needed financing to the action. I don't see any other hand raise, so of course, you may have other question. In case, do feel free to put them in the chat, and we will get back to them. But now it's rather the time to also ask a bit you what you think about and what you are doing in your cities. So if you can ask to go to the next slides, Alida, we have some more general question based of what Agnes has said and what has been the process in Mannheim. There are, of course, you are undertaking also similar processes. Maybe you're not at that complete stage yet, as Mannheim is in terms of defining what the mission is and how it should be undertook for the next, at least for the next 7 years, but potentially even more. So we would like maybe to ask if you would like to share also a bit of your experience and what you think in terms of what are the methodologies and approaches which are useful for you, have been useful for you to implement your climate action plan and strategies. If you have already thought, and this is, for example, something that from the city of Sitomir understood was not yet there, in terms of connecting your investment plan with your existing climate action plan, may it be a CCAP under the Covenant of Mayors as all of your signatories or any other plan that you are doing or that you're having at the city level. And if so, what are the challenges and also perks potentially in implementing those plans and in implementing those strategies and methodologies? And of course, if you think that a mission-oriented approach as the one that Agnes was presenting, or of course, is any other way that you may think about it for your cities, may actually help you in your climate action strategy. We had also developed an exercise in Miro for you to put your thoughts. Looking at the time, maybe my suggestion would rather be to keep it in the group here, and we will make sure to add the information there. Also for the information, as I was saying before, we will open a chat group in the UTMC app where we will add the Miro and we will add the question, and we will more than welcome you to exchange also after the session here. And maybe before asking you, I would also like to introduce my colleague Bart, which is joining us and which also helping facilitating the discussion. I'm sure, Bart, if you would like to quickly introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks. First of all, apologies for not turning on the camera because for some reason my my internet connection is very slow. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, I don't think it makes huge difference. I think we will we'll be able to now move on to Miro again when Nicola's ready to say so. And then we will facilitate those. I mean, hopefully everyone will take a moment and write their answers to those 3 questions posed, and then at the end we will have a chance to summarize and see maybe have some further discussion on that as well. Back to you, Nicole.
Yeah, thanks. But just to point out quickly, because we only have 10 to 15 minutes maximum left here, and we started a bit later. We said maybe just to not go into the Miro, which may lose some time, but just have an open discussion here, and of course we can post it in the UTMC app afterwards. But yeah, maybe not sure if there is any immediate reaction for everyone that would like to take the floor. In that sense, of course, I see that there are several city representatives here. We will be more than happy to hear your thoughts in that sense.
I see now Otto is trying to switching on and off the camera, and I was wondering if he has, if they have some suggestion, some immediate reaction, because I know from the conversation we have that, and from the conversation we have with everyone, that the engagement of the citizens is particularly interesting. So I think maybe that's a good part of the starting point. I would like also to add to this facilitated discussion. It's also interesting to see how you're dealing with the systemic approach, or how you're dealing with the connecting the dots and connecting all the strategies and the implementation plan and the investment plan, and how you share that with citizens as well, how you engage them and the business in your strategy. I would be very interested to hear from you about that.
Was it a question to me?
No, to actually to everyone.
Okay.
it was really inspiring to hear what you're doing in Mannheim, Agnes, and I think it's really a good starting point and good can kickstart a good discussion indeed. Axinia.
Yes, thank you. So I can say that, you know, in our case, the most challenging thing is, of course, to attract investments. So probably this is the most challenging thing for us for now. Of course, addressing the public, addressing people is also challenging. But, you know, again, the people really are changing, and that's really nice to see and to understand that they are trying to improve. They are trying to get the skills. They are trying to get the knowledge of in principle, the need of change. Because, you know, before that, maybe around 10 years ago, I didn't see that at all in our people, so that they were thinking of the climate change that much as now. And that's really very positive thought to think. And of course, we are trying to address the public, for example, conducting some kind of like energy days. We are trying to make people see what is needed, what should be done, and what they can basically do at their local level. Yeah, but somehow it's still challenging to reach all the public and to exactly make them do something. Yeah, because it's really very often they understand, they realize, but just doing something is pretty like it's a step which not everybody can make. And of course, in our case, the investment is also a challenge. Of course, we are doing our best, yeah, because we really have our strategy of development, and we are trying to follow it step by step, but of course trying to attract the investment, and the investment strategies are very much interesting to us indeed. So in our case, we are moving forward. I think we are succeeding, but not as fast as maybe we would like to. Yeah, so because we are also facing our challenges, for example, like investment attraction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Axinia, and indeed that would be something in which we can definitely delve a bit more into. And I see Agnes, yeah, maybe if you'd like to say a bit more from your experience.
Yeah. So it's not only that's only the municipality can open or has the keys, provide the keys for the 7 doors. For some decisions, the people, they need the support from the restaurants or from the stores, shops, and so on, because they decide when in the shop they decide which product I should buy, and if there's not seen something that they can take the right decision, and that is the valuable arguments or something like that, then they will catch that product which has the best marketing idea behind it. It could be greenwashing as well. So we need also all the enterprises and stores and shops and so on our side to overcome these so-called value action gap. So.
Thank you. That's very interesting. And you are just addressing them, if I may ask, please. Yes. Yeah, so you are addressing them from the side of the municipality, or you are trying kind of to get some agreements with them, or they are like stakeholders, yeah, in all the whole process.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that we are doing for this is we are doing that along these experiments we are doing now. So we are looking which stakeholder can close or holds the key for the doors in the hand and can provide it. We have that new local Green Deal team. So there are 8 local Green Deal managers, young people. They are only for dealing to make the commitments. So they will also go to the shops and discuss with them how to connect it with our plastic strategy and so on, that people are using more reusables. And that is our experience. It's depending on how the stores and shops are included also in the system, because if they don't provide some alternatives, then people are really in their comfortable seat and don't change.
Thank you very much, Agnes, and I see Jakob as his hand raised.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. This has been a very rich and very meaningful conversation so far. I could say that in Bergen in Norway, we got our climate strategy approved by the City Council earlier this year, and that was based on a quite comprehensive stakeholder engagement process where we worked together with most of the schools in Bergen and also with local citizens to kind of get suggestions on climate measures and priorities. I think now we are at a stage where we kind of trying to think about what would be a meaningful way of engaging citizens and stakeholders in the next step of moving towards implementation. And I think listening to all of the perspectives here, I think is very helpful for us as we develop this. Our main way of operationalizing our climate action plan is through the climate budget that we use in Bergen and many other Norwegian cities, where we kind of integrate our yearly kind of climate mitigation work with kind of the financial budget. And I'm sure Ari could fill you in more about that if you're interested. But I think that brings me to a couple of questions. I know we don't have that much time, but I think one thing you said is that you, in Mannheim, you did connect SDGs to your budget. And it would be really interesting to hear a little bit more about how you did do that and how strict you are when you do that. And I think it would also be very interesting for us to learn more about how you get kind of your business involved in this to kind of broaden your climate investment plan to not kind of only concern the operations of the municipality, but also kind of everything that goes on within the boundaries. And I think that would also be very interesting for us to learn more about. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I was concentrated on the second one. What, in short, what was the first question?
The first one was how you work to kind of connect your SDGs to the budget.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was a big change process over 2 years, transformation of the whole administration. So we took all the 17 United Nations goals and asked the departments which one you can contribute with real concrete measures and so on. Then we summarized that in our 7 strategic goals of the cities, and all of them, they have the pictograms, icons from the SDGs. So the climate goals has 5 of the 17th, for example. And then it goes to the budget framing, because if you want to have a budget, you have to explain how much does it contribute to your committed goal as a department. So every half year, you have to give the monitoring, the evaluation of your projects and how much you have reached in your key performance indicators. So it's really connected. And the business, yes, we have the business alliance. There are not only the municipal utilities in it, but also the big industry companies like John Deere, tractor paper fabric, and so on. And we are working with them via contract and via really concrete deals. We are signing with the businesses, and they helped us also with the economic development department in the strategy group for industry measures in the CCAP.
Thank you so much. This is really meaningful for us.
And absolutely, thank you, Agnes. I just looking at the time. I know that most of you may have other meetings and undertakings in a very short time. Just we'll last 5 more minutes, and because we still have something to ask you and to tell you about next steps. And the idea anyway will be, of course, to continue the discussion in the UTMC app by opening a dedicated channel to it. Just Carol, I see you have your hand raised. I'm not sure maybe if it's something rather quick in that sense.
Thank you so much, Nicola. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone for this very enriching exchange, and just a small question to Agnes related to the third question of the exchange, that it's this sort of mission approach and how it could be useful. And seeing your amazing presentation and the work you've developed in the city, Agnes, I was wondering. Of course, there's I think one of the key factors for the success of the city has been this first political commitment. And I wanted to ask you if, because you mentioned it quite a few times, if there was a really climate neutrality and the climate action in the top priority, because it seems like if you put it as a priority, then everything follows. So I don't know if that was something that really helped everything happen.
Yes, that helped. So that not only helped, it is needed. You need that from the top down, the mandate to act, and that you have the support. And we had it before because one of the top management goals is climate resilience, climate neutrality, and environment-friendly living in Mannheim. And so we are aiming for an integrated approach, not only to be climate neutral, but also to be climate neutral and sustainably climate neutral, and to include all the citizens, so to leave no one behind in the sense of the local Green Deal, so a just transition. And that helps. So that is committed with the city council, and so the whole city is working on that approach.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very much once again for the insights that are very helpful. And maybe just to finish with the peer-to-peer exchange, I will maybe like to ask Alina to get the slides back. We will just have a 2 minutes explanation of what's coming next in terms of the peer-to-peer exchange and the practical implementation guide. And also, Jakob, you mentioned climate budgeting. As we were mentioning before, this is just the first of a series of exchanges that we would like to do, and one of the elements that we were circling was also climate budgeting. So in that case, we will be more than happy, of course, with also your input if you agree. But maybe first the floor to Alina. I'm not sure if you are ready. Just explain in few words what's coming next.
I had to unmute myself before sharing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen?
It's not full screen yet.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can. If you can just go to the next slide.
Okay. Great. Okay. So all the peer-to-peer exchanges are we are planning to organize a series of peer-to-peer exchanges based on the analysis of different type of methodologies that could support existing action strategies for climate neutralities within the cities. We are selecting those that are most important, that can provide, not most important, but rather that can provide value added and practical guidance. Based on this analysis and based on the feedback that we are collecting as we did today during the peer-to-peer exchanges, we will as well compile a practical implementation guide, and we will share both the comparative analysis and the implementation guide on the Urban Transition Mission platform, where, as Nicola said, they can be shared with you. You can comment and start chatting with other practitioners that are implementing them to see if they can be applicable for you as well, and what others can gain from your experiences. Currently, the mission-oriented approach was the first methodology that we analyzed. We are planning to finalize it by November. The next ones that we were thinking of, and for which anyway we will need your feedback in case, based on what you think would be best for you, or if you have other initiatives and methodologies that you feel could be relevant for you. This would be our suggested list: the Equally Green Climate Cities, the Sustainable Urban Standards, climate-related financial disclosure. Currently, we are thinking to prepare the next review on the donut economics model. But then, of course, we are open to also hear your feedback on it. So in case, please let us know what you think about it. You can also make suggestions in chat. if that's easier. And I think I kind of rushed a lot very quickly. In case I forgot anything, Nicola, please feel free to add any information.
No, absolutely, and thank you very much for it. I know we are over time. This was, as was said, just a suggestion, and is mostly taking for next year. So the idea is to have one peer-to-peer exchange every 2 to 3 months for a maximum of up to 4 throughout the course of the year. And as you were rightfully mentioning, it was mentioned here and there also today, we would like to focus the next one on circular economy, specific on the donut economics model, which some cities are already implementing and might be interesting for you to look a bit more into the detail. Of course, though we will really much to hear from you if you think this is useful, because of course the whole purpose is to have a practical implementation guide, and to be practical, it definitely has to be useful for you in case you would like to use it. So we welcome your feedback. Either now in the UTMC app, we also add the list and ask you to complement. As you see, there's also climate budgeting as one of the examples in the list. I'm not sure if you do have immediate reaction to that.
Nicola, I have one.
Yeah, please.
Which is that in the UTM, we are in conversation with the Donut Economic City track, so to say. And so a little surprise is that a meeting with them, like a sort of training on how does the Donut Economic work in practice for a city will come soon. So you will hear from me. We didn't define a date yet, but I believe that's going to be like somewhere in late second half of November. So it can be a good alignment with this in case this is the favorite for the next part.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Miriam. And indeed, that would be also very good alignment in that sense. So if there is no immediate reaction, of course, we will welcome them afterwards. I know that we are almost 10 minutes over time, so maybe we will come to a closing of this session. We will put all the material in the UTMC app and share it with you through, of course, the UTM Secretariat. And of course, we welcome any other interaction or comment in that direction. So thank you everyone for joining. A special thanks, of course, to Agnes for the presentation on Mannheim, and of course we will reconvene later on this afternoon for the second identical session on that. Sorry for exploiting you too much today, Agnes, but hope you don't mind. Yeah, wish you all a good day or a good evening. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Have a nice day and evening.
Thank you all for your nice comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Nicola and Alina, for organizing, and Bad.
Thank you.